Coming to you live for the Built for Tough studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Thursday morning. A lot happening today. Knicks lose and might lose Jalen Brunson for a little bit of time as he leaves with an ankle injury and a walking boot and crutches. The Rangers continue to explode with offense. We've got the Jets and the Patriots tonight. And if Aaron Glenn wants to be a jerk to the media, go win this game and then go be a jerk. Be a jerk all you want if you go and win this game. And we've got Mike Kafka out there throwing the football around to the wide receivers and the drills and looking like a head coach yesterday, and Jameis Winston singing to the assembled media after he gets named the starting quarterback this week. We'll get to all of it. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jim. Obviously very happy about what happened with the Rangers last night, scoring 6 goals. But I have to also say this morning I'm really, really sad. And I'm sad because of an iconic sports writer who has passed away. And His name is Larry Brooks, and he died at the age of 75. And I knew Larry Brooks a little bit. Now, I would see him at the bowels of the base, of the Garden, walking around down there, and we'd always interact when we saw each other. I didn't know him that well, but I felt like I did because as a Ranger fan, he gave me so much joy reading his column, covering my team and going in depth about my team. And no writer ever around here maybe has done what he has done with one particular franchise. Now, I know Rich Sabini's doing his thing with the Jets, so is Mark Cannizzaro, but, you have the guys that cover the local teams around here, but this guy was, in the eyes of many Ranger fans, if not all of us, we loved reading his columns. We really did. And, Molly Walker, has taken over for him, and she's doing a great job, too. They kind of worked together over the last few years, kind of getting her settled in. And I was reading the article this morning talking about one of the things that he told Molly, because he became her mentor, and I don't want to speak for her, but she does a great job, and she does a great job because one of the things that he told her, before I actually help you with a hand up, go read the CBA between the NHL players and the NHL owners and read it from back to front and front to back, essentially, and really get to know the game inside and out. It's not just about what's happening on the ice. It's all the things that go on off the ice. And that thoroughness is what gave us Ranger fans such great joy reading his columns. And I woke up this morning, I didn't realize this. I was shocked. I knew he was dealing with something, but I didn't know the extent of it. And he dies with after a short battle with cancer, and his wife died a few years back, and he leaves behind obviously his children and his grandchildren. And all I can say is that when I read this morning, I had a pause, and I felt like, as a Ranger fan as I am, I really felt impacted by his death.
Well, of course. I mean, I think that you nailed it when you said that you talk about a guy who is synonymous with something that he has covered. He is right at the top of the list there with New York hockey, especially the Rangers, talking about it, writing about it. Him and John Tortorella getting into it all those years.
Which was, by the way,
was awesome.
Which was pure theater for all of us.
Right, it was great. And that was... and the reason why it was so good is because, I think John Tortorella really respected Larry Brooks. So, they could have these battles and then be friends the next day and then have another battle after that. So I did see a few days ago how he was stepping away with some health concerns. So it was surprising to me that it was this quick that we find out that he passes away. But this is a Hall of Famer in his own right, and someone who will never be forgotten about for New York sports fans who have ever read any article. And I know he's done some other stuff, too.
Guys, covered the Yankees and stuff in that. Yeah, right. I mean, he moved around, and obviously the newspaper business, obviously is going by the wayside. But, the New York Post is an important, at least for sports anyway, I guess page 6 too, I would say, and the headlines that they're known for. But really, I mean, this guy was somebody you couldn't wait to read what he had written. He had such a way about understanding the Rangers, of course, and then the NHL, the bigger picture NHL stories. Like he wasn't just a Ranger sycophant. I mean, he covered everybody and covered all the championships, even when the Rangers weren't in it. So he was a go-to guy. And man, I got to say, I just this morning, I felt a real sense of loss. I can't explain it to you.
Well,
I mean, we have so many people pass away in this world, and we move on from those things. But I guess it's just because I appreciated his honesty in his articles. When he saw something, like like when you watch a game on MSG, and we kid around a lot, and I would say the same thing about Yes, and I would say the same thing about SNY. When you got the homers doing it, it's hard for the homers to actually really rip into the teams. They will. They'll make a pointed comment here or a criticism there. But this guy was like totally all in, and nobody could ever question, at least in my eyes, his ethics and the way that he covered the team that he covered. And as a Ranger fan, I love what Molly's doing, and I'm glad that they worked together for as long as they did. And he was a mentor to her, and I think she'll learn a lot from that. That's paying it forward. That's what Larry Brooks did with her. But I just I don't know, man. I was just really sad this morning when I read this.
Yeah, I think didn't the two of them they drove up together to cover something. It might have been the Four Nations last year, and they were in a car together, like in a blizzard. I remember there was some sort of thing there, and the two of them were chronicling their time together. So I'm sure that she's definitely.
I'd like to get her on today just to get her thoughts, and she probably knew pretty much what was going on, but really how a person like him can lend a hand up to somebody like her, meaning like moving it forward or just lending a helping hand, mentoring somebody that you know that ultimately is going to end up taking your job, and doing it in a way that she obviously says in these articles this morning just how important she or he was to her success to where she is now. And I love stories like that because that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for sure, a big loss, and I understand why you feel that way. I mean, I think that we experience that in sports, whether it's a play-by-play guy, someone that we watched who's actually on the team, someone who's associated with the team. The players come and go, and some are immortal because they end up winning championships, and you remember that. But guys like Larry Brooks, guys like John Sterling, guys like Vin Scully out with the Dodgers, like they're there the entire time that you are a fan. So that's why it's impactful. I mean, you have been reading his stuff and emotionally reacting to it for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, decades and decades. So, of course, it's totally understandable why it would hit you in the way that it did this morning.
Yeah, well, R.I.P. Larry Brooks. You were a great writer and somebody that this Ranger fan always looked forward to reading what you had to write. Didn't always agree with it, but certainly was entertained by it.
You weren't supposed to.
That's right. And I certainly was entertained by it and informed by it. And the fact that he told Molly that you have to read the CBA tells me all I need to know about the in-depth coverage that he was giving me all these years and giving us all these years. I say me because we all digest the information differently. But man, he was an iconic guy, and those fights with John Tortorella. And by the way, in the article this morning in the Post, they say how Torts reached out to him this past week because he probably knew that he was coming to the end. And Larry said, or Larry's I think either son or daughter said that he really did appreciate that phone call. But they had buried the hatchet long before that.
I mean,
it's just that Torts, he's got a heart somewhere in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I also think that he wouldn't have battled that way with Larry Brooks if he didn't respect him, and vice versa. I mean, I think that's just one of those things where it was these two type A personalities, both very smart, both very passionate, and they didn't agree with each other on things, and they went at it.
All right, so let me ask you a question, just to move it forward just a little bit. Do you think that's kind of like where Aaron Glenn is starting off at? Now, he doesn't have the history of John Tortorella. He doesn't have the history of Bill Parcells.
Well, no, right now because no one's really fighting back with him right now. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just looks like now like a weird chastising of the media as opposed to a back and forth. Now, if one of those guys, Rich Cimini or Costello or Connor Hughes, gets into it back and forth, and we see that same type of stuff, then maybe I could agree, but not at this juncture. I don't know if it bothers those guys or not. I guess I heard C-Mac talking about how Connor Hughes was on with Evan and Tiki yesterday, and he said, like, it is what it is, whatever, I got to do the job. I don't know if he was just kind of glossing over it because he didn't want to make a bigger deal out of it or he is bothered. I mean, I would like to hear what those guys really think about this. I think about someone like Rich Cimini who's seen so much crap with the Jets for so long. He's like, now I got to deal with this.
But the one thing I will say in regards to Aaron Glenn, have we heard anybody even talk about Tanner Engstrom? Have we heard anybody other than us earlier in the year talk about Steve Wilkes? Have we heard anybody talking about, the other things that are going on around the team, or is it all Aaron Glenn all the time because of the way he has decided to do these press conferences?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that so much as it's like the team. Nobody's really, when it's the first year of a regime, no one's screaming about the coordinators getting fired because they just got here. So like that's probably why. And it's just like everybody knows that, and you trade away players. Everybody knows it's a big rebuilding year. So, I mean, those guys don't meet the media all but once a week. So,
do you know how, and I'm only saying this because all of us hear these things, okay? And I'm just giving you an example. And the example would be like when Donald Trump says, I may run for a third term. And everybody freaks out, okay? Because we all hear it, we all say, and he says it. So now we're all thinking about, is he running for a third term? And then over here, he's doing something else while we're all talking about him running for a third term.
Yeah, the old look at this shiny object over here.
I don't, I was thinking about this yesterday because I think sometimes, people in power, in this case, it's a football coach who's actually in power of running a football team and is covered by media every single day. And they have fans that they're kind of trying to get a message out to. It's along the same lines. Like I'm saying this here, so you're not looking at that over there.
What would be the thing that he'd be distracting everybody from? You can't really do that with the Jets, can you? I mean, we know like a lot of things that are going on.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that I think would normally be covered, but because he goes in there and he starts the way he starts, it's now all of a sudden it's more about him and it's more about the way he's reacting with the media than the actual product on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you were thinking about this a lot yesterday because there's no reason for him to do this. And you were thinking, what is the reason for him to do this? And then you had a grasping at straws spot and you came up with this. When I just think that the guy's just being a jerk for no reason.
You think it's that simple?
I do. I think he's being a jerk for no reason. And he's got this antagonistic view and this personality with the media that is unnecessary, which is funny because he talks about having no distractions from certain situations, but he's created this distraction himself because this is the thing we talk about. So I don't know.
Could I just say one thing to you, though? You've mischaracterized something again. I don't know why you always do this to me.
What's that?
I do not grasp at straws.
This time you did with this.
I did not.
You were looking at something. You were trying to find an explanation for this because you want to defend the guy.
That's not grasping at straws. I'm just trying to figure out why he's doing what he's doing. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to figure out why he's doing what he's doing. And I am
confirmation bias. Maybe that's what it is.
What?
Confirmation bias. Meaning that you want something to be true so bad that you create something that doesn't really exist to sort of further your point because you don't want to be wrong about it.
No, what I've heard, and here's something. This is my truth.
Okay. I respect it. Say no more.
It's my truth. I don't care what the hell you say. I don't care what the actual truth is. This is my truth.
Okay.
And I don't just once again, I just want you to understand one thing. I do not grasp at straws.
I said it was a grasping at straws spot.
No,
meaning
that's the same as grasping at straws. I'm not grasping at straws.
But you did do this, which was, man, this doesn't make any sense why he's acting like a jerk. Man, I'd really like to defend the guy, but I can't. So let me spend some time to figure out a way where I can. And then you came up with something I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think he's that diabolical or sharp to go, hey, we're going to be doing all this stuff over here that you guys don't know about, so what I'm going to do is distract you by being an a-hole to Rich Samini.
But he's the story, though. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about...
Right, which is not good, right? We're talking about a 2-7 football team.
It depends on how you look at it.
But what is the thing that he's trying to distract us from?
2-7.
It's a part of it. One of the conversation we're having is, why are you acting like this when you're 2-7? So we're not... You think... Are we... to believe that Aaron Glenn thinks that all of us are so stupid that he picks a fight with a media and we all forget that his team sucks?
No, I don't.
No, it compounds it.
I think it's the opposite. I think Aaron Glenn thinks a lot of people in the media and the Jet fan themselves are smart enough to see, where the shortcomings are on the team. And I mean, has anybody other than Justin Fields and maybe Garrett Wilson because he's hurt, has anybody asked him about anybody else?
Well, yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, but we don't hear about it. It doesn't seem like it.
Well, because he's not fighting back over it. And if he was, that would be even sillier. Like if he was talking about, hey, we see this guy on this thing or this special team situation, and he was fighting with them on that too, then they'd never be able to get through a press conference. I don't know. Sometimes I think things are just at face value. I'm always someone that is trying to look beyond what's right in front of your face. This particular thing, I think it just is what it is. I think that this guy came in with this idea that he had to fight with the media because Bill Parcells told him, don't let these guys truck you. And he's had this chip on his shoulder ever since, thinking that they're out to get him when they weren't when he first started. But now that he's acting like this, they might be. I think it's as simple as that. So, I mean, if there's some diabolical scheme going over there in Florham Park.
I'm not saying diabolical scheme. It's a very simple way of handling things and distracting people. That's all.
From what?
From whatever you're trying to get accomplished.
You got to tell me what that is.
Or trying to protect somebody. Or whatever. The players.
Why?
The fight that he has with the media, probably the players probably enjoy it.
They don't know what the hell's going on. Justin Fields didn't know that Woody Johnson said that he couldn't complete a pass. You're telling me that Justin Fields understands every press conference that's going on with him?
I would say that's a pile of crap.
What do you mean? Did you watch the video? He was completely caught off guard.
Yeah, in this day and age, it's hard to be completely caught off guard. You know why? Because of the people in your life. Maybe, I'm sure he heard it, and then when it was...
All right, so this is what you're doing. Now we're just completely twisting things that actually happened to fit what you want to be right, and I'm not going to allow that to happen.
You're twisting the straw that you've grasped.
It's okay.
Hey, pipe down in there, you.
Don't
you get involved in this.
I mean...
I would think, because, you have family members, you have friends, you play golf with people in Sayville. And how many times does somebody say something?
You know what? Give the guy an Oscar, because that was one hell of an acting thing. He had no idea what the guy said. Okay. None. I even came in here and said that to you and asked you why a PR staff wouldn't alert him to this, and you didn't have that opinion then. You agreed with me that the guy was caught off guard. All right, let's go to a break, and then you could try something else.
Why are you attacking me this morning? Because
you drive me crazy with this stuff sometimes. Because I just want you to one time, if you get painted in a corner, be like, crap, I'm in a corner. Now I have to walk out and step on the paint, as opposed to just piling on and grabbing onto things that make no sense to try to fit this narrative that's wrong.
Daddy's not in the corner. I can tell you that.
Okay, well.
You're not painting me in the corner.
You did yourself. I didn't have to do it.
I'm just trying to give you an idea why he's doing what he's doing. That's all. Tortorella used to fight with John, and this all started because of Tortorella's, going with Larry Brooks, and there was a reason for that. Torch took it on himself.
Well, John Tortorella also has that personality where he wasn't just. He would fight with everybody. He was a crazy person, right? It was not another one of those grand scheme things where he's distracting people. That was his personality.
I kind of love me some Torch, though, man. You know that.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.